a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. City of London. The City of London is a city and county that contains the historic centre and the primary central business district of London. It constituted most of London from its settlement by the Romans in the 1st century AD to the Middle Ages, but the agglomeration has since grown far beyond the city's borders. The city is now only a tiny part of the metropolis of London, though it remains a notable part of central London. Administratively, it forms one of the 33 local authority districts of Greater London. However, the City of London is not a London borough, a status reserved for the other 32 districts. It is also a separate county of England, being an enclave surrounded by Greater London. The City of London is widely referred to simply as the City, and is also colloquially known as the square mile, as it is 1.12 square miles in area. Both of these terms are also often used as metonyms for the United Kingdom's trading and financial services industries, which continue a notable history of being largely based in the city. The name London is now ordinarily used for a far wider area than just the city. London most often denotes the sprawling London metropolis, or the 32 London boroughs, in addition to the City of London itself. This wider usage of London is documented as far back as 1888. When the County of London was created. The local authority for the city, namely the City of London Corporation, is unique in the UK, and has some unusual responsibilities for a local council, such as being the police authority. It is also unusual in having responsibilities and ownerships beyond its boundaries. The corporation is headed by the Lord Mayor of the City of London, an office separate from the Mayor of London. The current Lord Mayor, as of November 2017, is Charles Bowman. The city is a major business and financial centre. Throughout the 19th century, the city was the world's primary business centre, and it continues to be a major meeting point for businesses. London came top in the Worldwide Centres of Commerce Index, published in 2008. The insurance industry is focused around the eastern side of the city, around Lloyd's Building. A secondary financial district exists outside the city, at Canary Wharf, 2.5 miles to the east. The city has a resident population of 9,401, but over 300,000 people commute to and work there. About 3/4 of the jobs in the City of London are in the financial, professional, and associated business services sectors. The legal profession forms a major component of the northern and western sides of the city, especially in the Temple and Chancery Lane areas where the Inns of Court are located, of which two, Inner Temple and Middle Temple, fall within the City of London boundary. Origins. Known as Londinium, the Roman legions established on the current site of the City of London around 43. Its bridge over the River Thames turned the city into a road nexus and major port, serving as a major commercial centre in Roman Britain until its abandonment during the 5th century. Archaeologist Leslie Wallace notes that, because no prior settlements or significant domestic refuse have been found in London, despite extensive archaeological excavation, arguments for a purely Roman foundation of London are now common and uncontroversial. At its height, the Roman city had a population of approximately 45,000–60,000 inhabitants. Londinium was an ethnically diverse city, with inhabitants from across the Roman Empire, including natives of Britannia, continental Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. The Romans built the London Wall sometime between 190 and 225 AD. The boundaries of the Roman city were similar to those of the City of London today, though Londinium did not extend further west than Ludgate or the Fleet, and the mid-estuary Thames was underedged and wider than it is today. Thus, the city's shoreline was north of its present position. The Romans built a bridge across the river, as early as 50 AD, near to today's London Bridge. Decline. By the time the London Wall was constructed, the city's fortunes were in decline, and it faced problems of plague and fire. The Roman Empire entered a long period of instability and decline, including the Carausian Revolt in Britain. In the 3rd and 4th centuries, the city was under attack from Picts, Scots, and Saxon raiders. The decline continued, both for Londinium and the Empire, and in 410 AD the Romans withdrew entirely from Britain. Many of the Roman public buildings in Londinium by this time had fallen into decay and disuse, and gradually after the formal withdrawal the city became almost uninhabited. The centre of trade and population moved away from the walled Londinium to Londonvik, a settlement to the west, roughly in the modern-day Strand/Aldwych/Covent Garden area. Anglo-Saxon Restoration. During the Anglo-Saxon Heptarchy, the London area came in turn under the kingdoms of Essex, Mercia, and later Wessex, though, from the mid-8th century it was frequently under the control or threat of the Vikings. Bede records that in 604 AD St. Augustine consecrated Mellitus as the first bishop to the Anglo-Saxon kingdom of the East Saxons, and their king, Sabul's uncle and overlord, Ethelbert, King of Kent, built a church dedicated to St. Paul in London, as the seat of the new bishop. It is assumed, although unproven, that this first Anglo-Saxon cathedral stood on the same site as the later medieval and the present cathedrals. Alfred the Great, King of Wessex and arguably the first king of the English, occupied and began the resettlement of the old Roman walled area in 886, and appointed his son-in-law Earl Ethelred of Mercia over it as part of their reconquest of the Viking-occupied parts of England. The refortified Anglo-Saxon settlement was known as Londonborough. The historian Asser said that Alfred, king of the Anglo-Saxons, restored the city of London splendidly and made it habitable once more. Alfred's restoration entailed reoccupying and refurbishing the nearly deserted Roman walled city, building quays along the Thames, and laying a new city street plan. Alfred's taking of London and the rebuilding of the old Roman city was a turning point in history, not only as the permanent establishment of the City of London, but also as part of a unifying moment in early England, with Wessex becoming the dominant English kingdom and the repelling of the Viking occupation and raids, while London, and indeed England, were afterwards subjected to further periods of Viking and Danish raids and occupation. The establishment of the City of London and the Kingdom of England prevailed. In the 10th century, Athelstan permitted 8 mints to be established, compared with 6 in his capital, Winchester, indicating the wealth of the city. London Bridge, which had fallen into ruin following the Roman evacuation and abandonment of Londinium, was rebuilt by the Saxons, but was periodically destroyed by Viking raids and storms. As the focus of trade and population was moved back to within the old Roman walls, the older Saxon settlement of Londonvik was largely abandoned and gained the name of Ealdwick. The name survives today as Aldwych, a name of a street and an area of the city of Westminster between Westminster and the City of London. Medieval era. Following the Battle of Hastings, William the Conqueror marched on London, but failed to get across London Bridge or to defeat the Londoners. He eventually crossed the River Thames at Wallingford, pillaging the land as he went. Rather than continuing the war, Edgar the Atheling, Edwin of Mercia and Morcar of Northumbria surrendered at Berkhamsted. William granted the citizens of London a charter in 1075. The city was one of a few examples of the English retaining some authority. The city was not covered by the Domesday Book. William built 3 castles nearby to keep Londoners subdued. About 1130, Henry I granted a sheriff to the people of London, along with control of the county of Middlesex. This meant that the two entities were regarded as one administratively until the Local Government Act 1888. By 1141 the whole body of the citizenry was considered to constitute a single community. This commune was the origin of the City of London Corporation, and the citizens gained the right to appoint, with the King's consent, a mayor in 1189, and to directly elect the mayor from 1215. From medieval times, the city has been composed of 25 ancient wards, each headed by an alderman, who chairs ward motes, which still take place at least annually. A folk moot for the whole of the city held at the outdoor cross of St. Paul's Cathedral was formerly also held. Many of the medieval offices and traditions continued to the present day, demonstrating the unique nature of the city and its corporation. In 1381, the Peasants' Revolt affected London. The rebels took the city and the Tower of London, but the rebellion ended after its leader, Wat Tyler, was killed during a confrontation that included Lord Mayor William Walworth. The city was burned severely on a number of occasions. the worst being in 1123 and in the Great Fire of London in 1666. Both of these fires were referred to as the Great Fire. After the fire of 1666, a number of plans were drawn up to remodel the city and its street pattern into a Renaissance-style city with plan urban blocks, squares, and boulevards. These plans were almost entirely not taken up, and the medieval street pattern re-emerged almost intact. Early modern period. By the late 16th century, London increasingly became a major centre for banking, international trade and commerce. The Royal Exchange was founded in 1565 by Sir Thomas Gresham as a centre of commerce for London's merchants, and gained royal patronage in 1571. Although no longer used for its original purpose, its location at the corner of Cornhill and Threadneedle Street continues to be the geographical centre of the city's core of banking and financial services, with the Bank of England moving to its present site in 1734, opposite the Royal Exchange on Threadneedle Street. Immediately to the south of Cornhill, Lombard Street was the location. From 1691 of Lloyd's Coffee House, which became the world-leading insurance market. London's insurance sector continues to be based in the area, particularly in Lime Street. In 1708, Christopher Wren's masterpiece, St. Paul's Cathedral, was completed on his birthday. The first service had been held on the 2nd of December 1697, more than 10 years earlier. It replaced the original St. Paul's, which had been completely destroyed in the Great Fire of London, and is considered to be one of the finest cathedrals in Britain, and a fine example of Baroque architecture. Growth of London. The 18th century was a period of rapid growth for London, reflecting an increasing national population, the early stirrings of the Industrial Revolution, and London's role at the centre of the evolving British Empire. The urban area expanded beyond the borders of the City of London, most notably during this period towards the West End and Westminster. Expansion continued and became more rapid by the beginning of the 19th century, with London growing in all directions. To the east, the Port of London grew rapidly during the century, with the construction of many docks, needed as the Thames at the city could not cope with the volume of trade. The arrival of the railways and the tube meant that London could expand over a much greater area. By the mid-19th century, with London still rapidly expanding in population and area, the city had already become only a small part of the wider metropolis. Brought to you by WikiVidi documentaries. Would you like to know more?